Today let us discuss about the treatment and prevention of diseases. Okay, so there are different principles to treat the infectious disease. What are these two principles? Number one principle is to reduce the effect. For treating the infectious disease, one thing we should follow is to reduce the effect, and number two we should follow is to kill the cause of the disease. So at least if we do these two things, this will try to reduce the effect of the disease, and also the germs will be killed. So this way we can try to treat the infectious diseases. Okay, like to reduce the effect of the disease, here what we can do, we can provide a particular treatment so that only the symptoms can be reduced. But this type of treatment to reduce the effect is, it will not kill the germs, it will not kill off the microbes. So this will only reduce the symptom. So like this we can take the medicines for the fever or to reduce pain or loose motion. Okay, but it will not kill the disease that is causing this type of symptoms. So to cure the disease completely, we have to kill the cause of the disease. So for killing the cause of the disease, we have to take medicines that will kill the microbes in the best way, so that we can get the complete recovery from the particular disease. So medicine which are specific to that particular disease should be taken. Okay, so for the treatment of bacterial disease, I already told that antibiotics can be taken, which will block the biochemical pathway of the bacteria. So similarly, other drugs can be taken for killing the protozoa which is causing malaria. And antiviral medicines are not available because viruses don't have biochemical mechanisms, or they have a very few biochemical mechanisms which can be blocked by the use of the medicines. So viruses enter our cells and use our machinery for completing their life processes. So there are very few virus specific targets to aim at. So antiviral drugs can be taken to just reduce the symptoms. Like for HIV infections, the symptoms can be reduced, can be under control, and these are now available. So this is one way to reduce the effect. Okay, so these are the two principles which are to be followed, like to reduce the effect and to kill the cause of the disease. Now we'll talk about the principles of prevention. So for the principles of prevention, we can see that there are three limitations that are normally faced while we are treating an infectious disease. What are the what are the limitations that we normally face while treating the infectious disease are? See, the body functions are totally damaged. When we are treating for the disease, the body functions are totally damaged by the disease causing germs, and may sometimes never recover completely. So this is one limitation. Next, number two is time taking. The treatment will take a lot of time, and this person who is been infected with one germ which is infectious can transmit the disease to other persons also. This can act as the medium. The person can act as the medium. Those person who is suffering from the disease can act as the medium and spread the disease from one person to another. So these are the three limitations of the treatment. So here we can say that prevention is better than cure. So there are two general ways to prevent the diseases. We will see what are these. Two ways of treating the diseases. Number one is the general way to prevent the exposure to the infectious microbes. We will try to prevent ourselves to expose or to prevent the exposure to the infectious microbes. So public hygiene is necessary for the prevention of infectious disease. And there are specific ways for preventing the infectious disease, which includes adopting the practice of immunization, where we can see the immune system of our body continuously fight against the microbes that enter our body and tries to kill the microbes that enter our body. So this is an immune system which works inside our body. And immune system will not work properly if the person is not taking proper amount of food and nourishment. So availability of food and sufficient amount of food to each and every person is essential for getting a proper immune system. So this is the second principle of prevention, that is the specific way, that is to provide proper and sufficient food for everyone. Now we come to the process of immunization, where we can see how the body's immunity is increased. Here the person is made immune or resistant against the disease by the help of a vaccine, which will stimulate the immune system. So in immunization techniques, what is given? Vaccine is given to the person so that immune system is stimulated. So when this immune system first sees an infectious microbe, then immediately responds against it, and then again remembers it keeps it inside the memory. So whenever there is attack of the disease in the next time, attack of the germ in the next time with that particular microbe, or its close relatives enter the body, then the immune system remembers that yes, I have met them before, so I have to fight with them with strength. So then immune system is stimulated and starts fighting with the microbes which cause the disease, and this eliminates the infection more quickly. So this is the basis of immunization, where already the person was given the first dose of the infection in the form of vaccine, and when the person has interacted with this type of germs, and whenever there is a second attack by the germ, then it can fight forcefully to remove the infection away from the body. This immune system is controlled by the two types of cells, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. So next topic is vaccination. See, the word has come from the Latin word vaccinia, meaning cowpox, and also vacca, meaning cow. So here what happens, there is inoculation of vaccine in the body of a healthy person to develop the immunity against that particular disease. Okay, so this immune system remembers the first encounter with the disease, and then in the second time, whenever the microbes attack the body, then it remembers, it is in the memory, and then fight forcefully so that the second attack will not be so harmful to the body. So what is this vaccine? These are half-killed germs, half-killed suspension of the microorganisms which cause the disease, dead and weakened germs, which will not cause the disease but will stimulate the immune system. So these killed germs are introduced into the body. These are called what? Vaccine, which will not cause the disease but will stimulate the immune system of the body for further attack. So the inactive germs are introduced into the body. This stimulates the immune system to produce antibodies which will fight against the disease causing microbes. Okay, so these are inactivated germs. What? This vaccine. These are introduced into the body, and this will stimulate the immune system to produce the antibodies to fight against the disease. The vaccine, the first vaccine, was discovered by Edward Jenner. This was against the disease called smallpox. Next, we will talk about some of the vaccines like DPT vaccine, which is for tetanus, pertussis, and diphtheria. This is DPT HIV vaccine. Okay, then we have OPV, oral polio vaccine, poliomyelitis. Then we have hepatitis vaccine for the disease called hepatitis. BCG vaccines, Bacillus calmette-guerin for tuberculosis. Okay, so these are the different vaccines that are given to the children at proper age. And above that age, the vaccine has no use, because already the body has contracted this infection, and already this would be given. If this would be given, if that is the. Next, we will talk about some of the vaccines like DPT vaccine, which is for tetanus, pertussis, and diphtheria. This is DPT HIV vaccine. Okay, then we have OPV, oral polio vaccine, poliomyelitis. Then we have hepatitis vaccine for the disease called hepatitis. BCG vaccines, Bacillus calmette-guerin for tuberculosis. Okay, so these are the different vaccines that are given to the children at proper age. And above that age, the vaccine has no use, because already the body has contracted this infection, and already this would be given, if that is the next we come to the child immunization program, where we can see that vaccines are given to the child at a proper age. So just now I told that given after 5 years of age has no value. Along this line we can say that there is pulse polio program, which is given to the children below 5 years of age. Every year the pulse polio program is for 2 months, that is twice a year. This is December and January, and children up to 5 years of age are given 2 drops of oral polio vaccine. So this is pulse polio immunization program, which was started in 1995. So World Health Organization Global Polio Eradication Initiative was under this initiative, World Health Organization Global Polio Eradication Initiative. Under this initiative, in India, every year 2 times 2 drops of oral polio vaccine is given to the children up to 5 years of age. And India has been declared polio free by WHO, but it is continuing. This pulse polio program is continuing to eliminate any chance of its comeback. So this is all about the pulse polio program. Okay, so with this we are at the end of the chapter, which in this chapter we have dealt with the health and disease and different parts are related to health, and also the prevention and the treatment of the diseases. So all of you study this chapter, and with this we come to the end of the syllabus also. So from the next lecture we'll start revising from the beginning of the course. These vaccines are given at proper age to a child, and it is useless if given after 5 years of age, because by that time one has contracted an infection and become immune to the same. After 5 years already the diseases have entered, the infections have entered, and the body by itself tries to become immune to the same.